All right, today's tech tutorial is part 1 of a look at printers, the differences and how to determine what best suits your needs. You might want that just open up and clap you on your hand middle. Romaine Robinson, technician and sales rep with What's New, and David Mako, who is a sales rep, are here with us to tell us about printers. We're going to start off, I suspect, with something that's top of the line.
That is correct.
That's this one?
That is correct.
Which is what?
So this is a laser printer.
Right.
So let's say we're going to buy a printer today.
Yes.
Now, the first thing you want to determine is what type of printer do I need?
Right.
How to know that? Are you going to be printing photos? Is it for office? Is it for home? Very important to know.
This is a large amount of printing.
That is correct. Now, you need to also check what is the initial cost for the printer and the operational cost. Two very important things. The initial cost is how much will the printer cost me when I get it first, to purchase it basically.
Right.
So I can buy a printer right now and I'll pay $3,000 for the printer. And you say, whoa, what a deal. And then after 2 weeks, you're out of ink.
Right.
And then guess what? Nobody sells ink in Jamaica, so you have to fly to Miami to get ink for your $3,000 printers.
Oh, really?
It's a possibility. I'm just saying. No.
Not a big possibility, but anyway.
I mean, it's a possibility. I've seen where people have printers in Jamaica and they can't find ink cartridges for it.
All right. This wouldn't use an ink cartridge.
This it's a laser printer, so it's going to use a toner.
Toner.
So toner is over a period of time, it's going to cost you less. So the operational cost for a laser printer will be way less than actually getting an inkjet printer.
All right, but a laser printer is generally more expensive than an inkjet.
That is correct.
printer.
The initial cost for a laser printer will be higher than a
Right.
inkjet printers.
And it uses a toner, which does the toner cost more than the ink cartridge?
That is correct.
But you get more out of it.
Exactly. So you're going to end up buying maybe a cartridge for your inkjet printer, like maybe every 3 months. Well, if you have a laser printer, you'll be buying a toner like once a year.
Oh, really?
Really.
Well, that's dependent on how much you print, though,
Exactly. So that's a
yeah?
possibility.
This is also faster, is it not?
That is correct. The laser printers tend to go much faster, maybe 2-3 times faster than an actually inkjet printer.
The other thing with the inkjet is if you don't use it, it will dry up
That is
on
correct.
the printer.
That is correct.
Right.
The ink,
About
you're going
that
to end up
happened to me.
changing the ink. You're going to have to maybe change your printer itself. Sometimes I've seen that.
Right.
Also, when you're buying ink for your cartridges for your printer, sorry, it's very important to get the original cartridge. I would not recommend you get a refill.
Okay.
After a while, that messes up your printer.
Right. So you buy your new cartridge. All right. So this is a laser printer. Uses a toner.
That is correct.
Prints one pile of paper
That is
very
correct.
quickly. And that would cost what sort of money?
For the printer itself,
Uh-huh.
maybe about $50,000.
Right? Which is a lot more than some of the other ones you're going to show us. What
Right.
is this?
So this is actually an inkjet printer.
Right?
Now, this one, it's one of the higher end inkjet printers. It's a multifunction, which means that it prints, copies, and scans,
Right.
which is very important in our society today where everything is so expensive. It's more convenient, it's more economic to buy an all-in-one instead of buying a fax machine, buying a printer, buying a scanner. It's very important to think about that.
All right.
I
So
mean,
this one will actually scan,
both of them actually would.
right?
They're
Copy
both- That is correct. Fax.
and fax.
That is correct.
Both of them would do that?
That is correct.
All right.
So
and,
they
but this
all
is
do this.
inkjet.
This is an inkjet printer.
Okay.
Now, just before we move on, I must also point out to you is that when you're buying printers, it's very important to check what operating system the printer supports.
Oh.
Right. So you buy a printer and you have a Windows 7 at home and you did not check that. So what happens is that you go home with your XP capable printer and then you find out that it can't work with my computer, I have a Windows 7. So you have to take it back. So also check about the cables.
Right.
That's another thing. Sometimes the printers are not packaged with cables. Very important to check that. Also, the ink that comes in the printer is just a starter. We recommend that you also buy additional ink
All
for the
right.
printer as well.
Let's move around to some of the
Well,
other
David
ones
is
here.
over this and he will
All right.
give you further
David,
details.
what else you have here? No? Because this one look neat and compact and whatnot. What is that?
Morning, Simon. This is
Good
actually
morning.
an office jet printer. But
Office
before
jet?
Office jet. But
That
bef-
different from inkjet?
Well, it's a different type, as I was going to allude to. You actually have 3 different types of inkjet printers. You have the desk jet, the office jet, and the photo printers. Now, HP names theirs Photo Smart. All right? If you notice here, we have 3 desk jet printers.
Right.
Now, these two look the same, right?
Yeah.
Typical printers, but the difference actually with these two is that one of them tends to print faster, which would be this one, which is a 2000. So you would actually get a faster printing
Why?
rate. Well, that's just how it is in
No,
terms
but as
of...
opposed to this one.
Oh, that's just how they made the model.
Oh,
That would be
okay.
the advantage of getting this one, even though
Okay.
it looks the same. This one is another DeskJet, but this one has the added features. It's a multifunction. This one prints,
Scan, print.
scans, and photocopies. This one also has the wireless function, which is notified by this icon here.
Right.
This icon here. Now, this icon will tell you really and truthfully if this printer can be connected to a Wi-Fi system and then print a document from a printer or a tablet PC without any form of connections.
Okay.
All right, these two are OfficeJet. Now, the OfficeJet differs from the DeskJet in terms of the printing capacity. This one can print much more, and as it really states, it's for office usage. So really, the everyday user.
But when you say it prints more, in what sense? There's a greater capacity with the ink, or it prints faster, or it lasts longer than?
Well, with both, you can actually extend the amount of prints, because in each you can get the Excel version of the ink cartridge itself. Now, what I mean in terms of heavy-duty printing, this one can handle more load in terms of the amount that you print. All right, and these, as you can see, they look the same, but the added feature with this one is that it's wireless, which will be notified by the
that same icon.
Now, this one is another OfficeJet, but this one is a heavy-duty OfficeJet, if you want to put it like that.
So it's heavier than my guy over there. So.
Right, so usually the bigger the printer is sometimes, right, is the bigger the load it can handle.
I must also add as well that it's very important when you're buying one of these that you check to see what paper it supports.
All right.
Is it a letter size or does it support a legal size print? That's very important when you're buying these printers, or these multifunction printers rather.
These are letter size?
These are all letter size.
But we use legal other than legal
You'd
people.
be surprised to know, I tell you. Also, some of these have paper feeders as well.
Right.
So you need to check that as well. Can I put my book here and copy, or do I have to put it through the printer to copy? So that's also very important.
Okay, yeah.
Paper feeders, and then you have...
What sort of price range from that side coming up to here? We already heard about the big dude, but from there, in terms of the ink cartridge printers, what sort of price range coming up from down there to here?
All right, from here it really starts from about 3,500 upwards, depending on what you're looking for. It can go to as much as probably 26,000 plus tax.
In terms of an inkjet?
In terms of an inkjet, but it will be specific in terms of the category based on the OfficeJet being the more expensive ones,
right,
and the DeskJet being the more cheaper ones.
All right, so that's our look at printers this week, but next week we're going to have another look at some other aspects to printing that you'll be interested in. So Romaine Robinson, technician and sales rep, and David Watts, David Mako, both of them from Watts, he's sales rep, and they'll be back with us next Tuesday for another tech tutorial.